Welcome to the 10 Commandments series. This is part 8. Feel free to circle back and watch parts 1 through 7. We are going to keep going. Today, we're going to touch on the 8th commandment, which involves stealing, and we're going to touch on the John 10:10 deception. The 8th commandment is Exodus chapter 20, verse 15. You shall not steal. Steal means the Paleo-Hebrew word ganab. Ganab means to steal, steal away, carry away, to be stolen away, to be brought by stealth. Remember that, okay? Remember, brought by stealth. To go by stealth. Ganab also means to deceive, literally or figuratively, to deceive. Take a look at some of the things that it says in the Chaldee lexicon, the Hebrew Chaldee lexicon. Take from the idea of to break aside, to take from, and like a chaff drives the wind away. Look what else it says. Check this out. It says to deceive, like, quote, thou hast deceived me. What else it says? Genesis 31 verse 20, and Jacob deceived Laban. In verse 26, you'll see why they rendered it deceived there, because we're going to dig into that. Few things I want to point out. On the surface, we see stealing as being a thief or breaking into someone's house to steal, which is true. We will look at an example of that, which is true. But let's peel back the layer a little bit. Let's take a look at the story of Jacob. Then take a look at the spiritual aspect of it when it comes to doctrine. We will see how the deception of trying to teach against Yah's commandments is considered stealing people away from the truth, as well as stealing from the Most High by deceiving his people. Let's take a look at Genesis chapter 31. We'll start at verses 1 through 3 first, and then pick up. I want to give a little context here. Now Jacob heard the words of Laban's son saying, Jacob has taken away all that was our father's, and from what was our father's he has acquired all his wealth. And Jacob saw the countenance of Laban, and indeed it was not favorable toward him as before. Then Yahweh said to Jacob, return to the land of your fathers and to your family, and I will be with you. Now, let's jump down to Genesis 31, starting at verse 17. Then Jacob rose and set his sons and his wives on camels, and he carried away all his livestock and all his possessions which he had gained, his acquired livestock which he had gained in Padan Aram, to go to his father Isaac in the land of Canaan. Now Laban had gone to shear his sheep, and Rachel had stolen the household idols that were her father's. And Jacob stole away, there's that word ganab, and Jacob stole away unknown, that word unknown right there is lab, the word heart, okay? And Jacob stole away unknown to Laban the Syrian. You ever hear back in the day when two people are getting into it and a person strikes them off guard, or the person doesn't expect it? They say, oh, they stole on them. They didn't know they were about to get hit. Let's read verse 20 again. And Jacob stole away unknown to Laban the Syrian, in that he did not tell him that he intended to flee. So the reason why it's recorded that Jacob stole away unknown to the heart of Laban is because Jacob didn't tell him he intended to flee. So he stole away. He left by stealth. Look at verse 21. So he fled with all that he had. Look at verse 21. So he fled with all that he had. He arose and crossed the river and headed toward the mountains of Gilead. Quick note here. Jacob stole away or left his father-in-law's house by stealth without Laban knowing. That's an example of the Hebrew word ganab in action. This action is an example of how people steal the truth out of the hearts of people, convincing them to rebel against Yah and his commandments. A lot of people don't know they are being deceived, stolen away by false teachers. Before we go to the spiritual aspect, let's look at the natural application of steal. Exodus 21:16, he who kidnaps a man and sells him, or if he is found in his hand, shall surely be put to death. That word kidnap right there is the Hebrew word ganab, and it means steal. Exodus 22:7 and 8, if a man delivers to his neighbor money or articles to keep, and it is stolen, ganab, out of the man's house, if the thief is found, he shall pay double. If the thief, stealer, that word thief means stealer, which derives from steal, ganab, if the thief is not found, then the master of the house shall be brought to the judges to see whether he has put his hand into his neighbor's goods. Okay? So there's another example of how ganab looks. We saw ganab with Jacob and Laban, and we see ganab in Exodus 21 and 22. Okay? These are all natural aspects of how ganab is considered. I want you to see the actions of ganab, and then we're going to go into the spiritual application of how it's related to false teachers, stealing from people, stealing from them by teaching them lies, and stealing the people of Yah, and stealing the truth. Look at John chapter 10 verse 7. Check this out. We're going to see the Messiah himself address this. Okay? Now we're going to go into the application from a spiritual aspect and how he addresses false teachers from the Messiah himself. Yahushua said to them again, most assuredly I say to you, I am the door of the sheep. All who ever came before me are thieves and robbers. See that word thieves? Yeah, same concept, same emphasis, same context. Look at verse 8 again. All who ever came before me are thieves and robbers, but the sheep did not hear them. I am the door. If anyone enters by me, he will be saved and will go in and out and find pasture. The thief, here we go again. He's going to address the thief. He's going to address the false teacher. He's going to address the person that comes in by stealth. He's going to address the commandment breaker. The thief does not come except to steal and to kill and to destroy. I have come that they may have life and that they may have it more abundantly. See that? Look at the context. He's talking about commandment breaking, false teachers coming in by stealth, stealing. People have used John chapter 10 verse 10 to use it to promote materialism. You cannot be successful and prosperous in Yah's eyes if you are not obeying the Torah. If you are not keeping his laws, statutes, and commandments, you are not considered successful. That's not the abundant life that this is talking about. You cannot live abundantly in Yah's eyes if you're not keeping the Torah, if you're not keeping the same law that the Messiah taught. So the people that are telling you that the abundant life is something else, they are liars, they are thieves, they are stealing from you. Get away from them. All these shepherds and all these false teachers and all these pastors around the world that are promoting a twisted version of John 10:10, talking about the abundant life, Yahushua is telling you what he's talking about. If you come in the door through him, his sheep hear his voice, You don't listen to the thieves who are commandment breakers, who are stealing the truth from you. He said that he will give you life and you'll have it more abundantly, because the life that he gives you is eternal life, which will last forever. It's way more abundant than the life you will ever live right now in this time. Don't let him fool you. Yahweh is interested in his people's success if they obey his command. The Messiah isn't promoting abundant living and prosperity based on breaking the commandments and being lawless and disobeying Yah. Never. Let's keep going. So we're going to look at that word thief that I highlighted, and we're going to see that it's the same in the New Testament as it was in Exodus 20 for you shall not steal. It's the same context, same definitions. Look, this word thief means an embezzler. See that? Pilferer. The name is transferred to false teachers who do not care to instruct men, but abuse their confidence for their own gain. They are lying to you and stealing from you for their own gain. Those are the thieves. When the commandment says you shall not steal, he's saying don't be one of these guys who are stealing from Yah's people for their own gain, leading them away from the truth. A stealer, literally or figuratively, thief. And then it says compare to 3027, which talks about a robber. And he talks about thieves and robbers in the text. Let's take a look at where this word thief derives from. It derives from to steal, to commit a theft, to take away by theft. Example, take away by stealth. Remember I said pay attention to it in the beginning when we read the 8th commandment that said you shall not steal? It said you shall not take away by stealth. Same exact definition. Let's see what the definition of stealth is. A cautious, unobtrusive, and secretive way of moving or proceeding intended to avoid detection. These false teachers, they steal from you in a cautious, unobtrusive way, a secretive way of moving or proceeding with the intent to avoid detection. They don't want you to detect that they are deceiving you and lying to you and stealing from you. That's why the lies and the deception are subtle and progressive, because they don't want you to detect that they are stealing from you and they're leading you off course. They're leading you into error. They're leading you into destruction. They're leading you into a ditch. They're going to lead you to not inherit the kingdom. They're going to lead you into the lake of fire. Look at what Yahushua Hamashiach says. I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd gives his life for the sheep. But a hireling, there we go, look. But a hireling, he who is not the shepherd, one who does not own the sheep, sees the wolf coming and leaves the sheep and flees. And the wolf catches the sheep and scatters them. Sound familiar? Absolutely. Look at verse 13. The hireling flees because he is a hireling and does not care about the sheep. I am the good shepherd, and I know my sheep and am known by my own. So you have to ask yourself a question. If you're pushing against the same commandments Yahushua taught, if you're pushing against the commandments that the Messiah taught, and he said he doesn't have his own doctrine, he only says what he hears his father say, and his father always told his people to keep his commandments, and that's the same thing the son has, and you push back on that and you reject them, and then you twist the scriptures to try to say that they're done away with. Are you his sheep? Do you hear his voice? And if you realize the error in your way, repent, follow the true Messiah, and keep his commandments. So what Yahushua is saying is the thief, the false teacher, does not come except to steal and to kill and to destroy. Look at 1 Corinthians chapter 6. Let's look at verse 9. It says, "Do you not know that the unrighteous will not inherit the kingdom of Elohim? Do not be deceived." There we go again. Deception. Do not be deceived. Don't let someone trick you and teach you false doctrine. Don't let someone feed you deception. Don't let someone lie to you and tell you there's another way. Do not be deceived. Neither fornicators, nor idolaters, nor adulterers, nor homosexuals, nor sodomites. Look at verse 10. Nor thieves, nor false teachers, nor people who steal in the natural, and people who steal through false teaching, people who steal by taking away through stealth, deceptive false teachers that come in undetected and lead people astray from the truth. Those thieves, nor covetous, nor drunkards, nor revilers, nor extortioners will inherit the kingdom of Elohim. Clear as day. See that? The 8th commandment, Exodus 20:15, you shall not steal. Until next time.